So, I've never been one who liked to take the conventional path in life. I always wanted to be my own boss. I always wanted to do something entrepreneurial. And about 5 years ago, when I actually started to make a little bit of money from being self-employed, I thought it's probably a good idea to put some money into the stock market, as a lot of people do. And the first stock that I invested into was Tesla. And this was before it did the 2 stock splits. And in a little over a year and a half, I 8x'd my money, which was amazing. It was awesome. But in some ways, it was actually the worst thing that could have happened, because I ended up having this false sense of ability as an investor. I was thinking, the stock market's just so easy. I mean, it just comes naturally to a guy like me. And after that, I started hearing some people talk about these so-called speculative stocks. And I liked the sound of that. Now, they were saying, now it's a 10x or it's going to 0. And I kind of completely disregarded the whole it's going to 0 part of the equation. I was just saying to myself, it's going to be a 10x. It has to be a 10x. It's meant to be. And so I put a lot of money into these stocks. Now, mind you, these companies didn't make any money, nor were they ever going to make money. But I had hope. I had faith that someday, somehow, maybe, in theory, they would be able to make money. I learned very quickly that was not the case. And in the stock market, hope and faith are very dangerous words. If you're basing your investment thesis off of the hope that the company might become profitable one day, it's not really an investment thesis. And about a year and a half, 2 years later, most all of those companies were either down 80 to 90%. A couple went bankrupt. And somehow, what I learned from that became life-changing. One of the first things that I learned was failures are just learning opportunities. After I lost that money, I realized I need to take investing a lot more seriously. And I actually started to learn what all the financial metrics were, listened to earnings calls. I looked at the earnings reports, read the 10Ks, all the really boring stuff. And I started to see some improvements in the investments that I did make. And all the hard work that I was able to put in actually paid off. Another thing I learned was don't be afraid to ask for help. I think all throughout my life, I've kind of always struggled to ask for help. I always sort of looked at it as a sign of weakness. I don't want to have anyone know that I don't know this or I don't know that. And I remember in high school, my junior math class, I was always having to retake tests. And I remember one day in particular, I came in, my teacher just told me straight up, he was like, you're really bad at asking for help. Just a knife to my heart, because what he said was true, And had I gotten better at that, maybe I wouldn't have lost half my net worth in that year. But it makes for a good YouTube title, right? But now I look at seeking help and asking for help as a sign of confidence, really. Because being okay with just looking like you don't know everything, you have to be confident for that. And that you're going to need to seek advice somewhere. Changed everything. Now, the next thing I learned was money is important, but it's not everything. I found that the more money I had, the more I would sort of tie my self-worth to that number. I put so much pressure on myself to hit certain benchmarks. And when I didn't hit those benchmarks, it was devastating. And it's just this toxic thing that no matter how much I had, I was never satisfied. One thing I found that really helped was focusing on different things outside of business and making money, going to the gym, writing, reading, going outside, whatever it was. It was always something that money didn't have to be tied to it. And because of that, it was always something that I enjoyed. It was always something that I could use to clear my mind and to not be as stressed out. And without it, I think my focus would have been so much worse. Because if you're only focused on money all the time, like I was, you can start to take some of the shortcuts that I did and not take things as seriously as you should. And now, after applying everything that I have learned these past few years, I noticed I'm the happiest I've probably ever been. Probably can't tell by my voice, but I actually feel like I know what I'm doing. And I'm confident, a lot more confident than I've ever really been in my life. So hopefully this video helped someone, maybe. But yeah, peace.